One thing that I have been saying for quite some time is that universities long ago completely abandoned the idea of freedom of speech and freedom of information and freedom of knowledge to be able to discuss and debate whatever you wanted to, which was supposed to be the point of universities. That's not been the case at universities at all for quite a while now. It is a controlled education where they they try their hardest to limit the information that you have access to and limit the information that you can discuss. And obviously, when it came to a point of the government trying to, protect people's human rights, universities, of course, would fight against that because human rights, those pesky human rights, kind of go against the worldview that they're trying to build, a world without human rights. Free speech fears the Scottish universities back guidance suggesting academic freedom is racist. The ability to discuss ideas freely is racist. Human rights are racist. Guidance from the Scottish Funding Council suggests a belief in academic freedom as an example of white indifference, and it seems many Scottish institutions agree, which is hardly surprising. The reason for this isn't to do with racism. These people have a worldview that they want to enforce on the next generation. However, being able to criticise that worldview puts it at risk, so they have to be, when it comes to information, they have to be fascists. These people, when it comes to information, they are fascist. They only want you to have access to the information that serves their interests. There are fears for free speech on Scotland's university campuses after it emerged dozens of institutions had signed up to a guidance suggesting academic freedom could be racist. Almost every university and college in the country has backed a Scottish Funding Council programme called Call It Racism. Freedom, call it what it really is. Racism. According to the group, this would support colleges and universities to recognise and address racism on campus, which, oh, trust me, they do, big time, big time. In fact, they have entire teams of people earning six-figure fucking salaries to do exactly that. However, it has emerged that part of a supporting document suggests a belief in freedom for academics to express their views is an example of white indifference to racism. Well, I think that wanting to control that, it is racism. It's racism you want to be free. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're protecting your worldview. You're the cult leader trying to stop people from telling your little acolytes that you're full of shit. That's exactly what you're doing. The paper, published in 2016, splits white people into 4 categories. Oh, good, they're making lists of us now. At one end of the spectrum is white supremacy, and this is followed by indifference. It states this is characterised by a refusal to a serious look at racism and views anti-racist initiatives as ideological endeavours linked to culture wars and political correctness. That's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are. They're not... The whole racism thing isn't the goal, it's just a very convenient tool to use because anyone that goes against it, you can just portray them as a racist. The ultimate end goal, of course, is the complete control of information so that you can have a propagandized next generation. Because after all, it's hard to convince voters when they think. Really hard to convince them when they think. It's much easier if you just get them when they're young, when we've been able to fill their heads up with all that hoo-ha shite. It's much easier to get them to vote for you then. Fucking tell me democracy works. Dare you. It states this is... Oh, in fact, I've just read that. Also adds someone in this bracket would be a passionate defender of Western universalism, academic freedom, and the right to offend. Yeah, you do have a right to offend. I mean, it's not... That's something you have literally no control over whatsoever. Think of any innocuous statement. You'll find someone out there that's offended by it. That is impossible to police. Genuinely impossible to police. Dr. Stuart Waiton, a sociology lecturer at the University of Aberdeen, said the advice was a radical form of critical race theory. Oh, geez, a lecturer saying that out loud. Brave. An approach that some see as being racist itself. Critical race theory is in of itself inherently racist. It actually teaches, encourages, and condones differences and different treatment based on race. Which is racism, but hey, it's fine. But it's okay when they do it, because, yeah, but we're doing the bad thing for a good reason. unwilling or unable to resist the ideological takeover of institutions by this type of thinking. Yeah. He added, if you are a liberal and believe in tolerance and freedom of speech, you may not be a white supremacist, but you're kind of in that ballpark. Magically, through an extremist ideology on racism and whiteness, a foundational value of universities is not only redefined as a form of racism, but is also adopted by universities as dogma, as an outlook that the institution itself both endorses and pushes onto its staff. So what next? Should we stop teaching about John Stuart Mill? Should we label lecturers who dare to mutter the word academic freedom? Should universities denounce themselves from accepting any level of academic freedom? The whole thing is utterly ridiculous, embarrassing, and deeply illiberal. It comes as concerns have been raised about censorship on university campuses. On Tuesday, a talk by feminist professor Kathleen Stock was disrupted at Oxford University by trans activists. As they do. As they do. They like really want to control the flow of information. There's a lot of stuff that they're really worried about you finding out. It's crazy, isn't it? SFC, a non-departmental public body of the Scottish Government, asked Advance HE to create a programme of work based on combating racism in universities. A PowerPoint presentation on the report, seen by the Scottish Express, includes backing from representatives of 8 universities and colleges and contains branding from over 30 establishments. It was also backed by the Universities Scotland's group, which represents 19 higher education institutions. I'm so happy that I'm not in uni anymore, man. Jesus Christ. I mean, like, it was bad enough where most of the degrees that you get are completely worthless and you've got a fat pile of debt at the end of it. But the fact that you just go there just to get told that you're an awful person because of the colour of your skin, and there are certain actions that are expected of you in order to meet. Like, I don't know, it's weird. It just sounds like a horrible place to have. Like, a lot of people tell me about uni. Apparently, they hate it. You're better off going out and getting a trade. Just go out and learn an apprenticeship. Universities Scotland said it did not want to comment. Yeah, of course they wouldn't. A spokesman for the Scottish Funding Council said, following the publication of the Equalities and Human Rights Commission inquiry into racism on campus in 2019, Advance HE developed a set of resources to support colleges and universities to recognise and address the issues raised. The project was funded by the Scottish Funding Council and saw the sector work. Of course, tax money goes into this. Total waste. Collaboratively to develop resources that included free. Blah. In case you're wondering why I'm going to be stammering a lot in all these videos, I've got fucking heat stroke. I feel terrible. I'm smiling and all that, but I actually feel crap. References to existing academic work, including that from which Professor Waiting quotes, the Declaration of Anti-Racism, which institutions subsequently chose to make, is a simple rejection of racism in all its forms. That's not what it is. That is a complete lie. This is about the control of information. You want to breed people that have a left. You want to breed generations of people who are all going to vote left when they're older. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to buy the future by indoctrinating the current children of today. That's what you're trying to do. Because you realise that the regular game that the rest of us have to play, where we actually have to debate our ideas, you can't do it because your ideas are bad. You can't win anybody over. Your ideas objectively do not work. Like, there's a reason that every single communist state has failed or became something that isn't communism, and you're like, look, it works. Like China. China's not communism. I mean, they definitely have the authoritarian part down, but the way their economy works, no. China's not communist. But some people still believe it is. But yeah, this is just about the control of information. This is a control of information from an authoritarian ideology that's not able to win by regular conventional means, so it has to use force, where, it's like, they can't just admit, okay, then, if we can't convince MD and these things fuck up every single time we try them, maybe the idea's bad. Instead, it's like, no, we'll indoctrinate an entire generation and make them believe it so that they vote the way we want in the future. That's all it is. Totalitarianism in practice. I think... I've definitely got, a couple decades before I need to worry about it, but I don't know if I'll be sending my children to university.